Afternoon break, Christian here. So I just got done watching this YouTube video that was a little boy who passed away in Santa's arms. So that's a video you should go look and find. It's if you'd like to cry, that's a good one. So I have an update for you today. So I told you guys in the last video that I had bought a couple of shares of a company and that I would be buying more like the next day or so after that video had gone out, because that's when I got paid. I also received my stimulus check from the government, and that was another thing I used. My son, they issued one for children as well, so my son received one, and then it's required that tithe be paid, and then I gave him some cash he could do whatever he wanted with, but the majority of it I told him he had to invest it, but it's his investment. He owns whatever he buys. So I'll update you guys and show you what we did with that in a moment. All in all, I just kind of want to talk for a moment to you guys about some thoughts that are going through my mind and things that I saw recently. I have a lot of people who I work with who are much younger than me, so in their early 20s, that kind of thing, and I see people, they spend money like drunken sailors, and it's just here and there, and I don't know their personal situation. I don't know if they're invested in their 401ks or whatever, but I know a lot of people aren't. They skip that step. And I was going to point out to people who are talking to me sometimes online, they'll say things like, investing is complicated, it's hard, that kind of thing. For most people, I would say that the easiest investment you'll ever make is in a company sponsored 401k, where they're going to match your investment up to a certain amount. So in the case of Walmart, I can put in up to 6% of my pre-taxed income, and the company, after I've been there for 1 year, will match dollar for dollar. So I will make 100% return on my investment, risk-free. And then I'm also making an extra 6% on my pay, because I'm obtaining that money. That if I don't put anything into this, then they're not going to match, right? So then I wouldn't see that increase in my pay. Now, granted, you have to wait to receive it until later in life, or you quit the company or something of that nature. But the main thing is that if you have no knowledge whatsoever about investing, you can still obtain a substantial reward for, I guess it would be, delayed gratification and wise financial stewardship. If you can couple that together, you can actually get a return from the stock market without having any massive amount of understanding and knowledge. For example, my 401k is set up to where I simply buy large cap index or a fund that has a whole bunch of large cap companies in it, designed to kind of track the S&P kind of thing. So that's where I focus my 401k. You could do mid cap, you could do small cap, whatever. You could split it up amongst different ones if you prefer, like 30% here, 33 and 33 and 33, or whatever you do. So I just want to let you know there are ways to do this without having to go through years of studying, years of buying books and reading them and all this, trying to get this understanding that I have now. You can avoid all of that by buying the S&P 500 and making, dollar cost average investments over time, just consistently every single pay period or every single month or whatever you buy in, you make another investment, another. You don't have to worry about picking companies. In those cases, you're just buying an index designed to track the overall market. Or like I said, in the 401k case, in my case, it's large caps, but there are other variables as well. And if you still say, no, I want to go through all the work and really search out the individual companies myself, you could do that, but you don't have to use all your money with that strategy. One of the things that I have done recently is I had received a packet from Walmart after I started there a few weeks later, maybe a month. I received a packet inviting me to join the 401k. And again, they're not going to match anything until after I've been there for a year. However, I was willing to make that investment. and say, okay, I'll put in up to 6%, so I just maxed it at 6%. So the numbers I'm going to show you now don't include that 6% that is pre-tax that I'm investing in a different account. So just so you know, I'll have to figure out exactly what percentage I am from my paycheck every single period, how much I'm saving. Like I said before, it's roughly 65%. That was before I started doing the 401k. And I want to point out also that that is my paycheck. That is not my whole household, right? So my wife gets paid, I get paid, YouTube pays me, and so forth and so on. So it's not that I'm taking, 65% of all of my money and investing it in the market. It's just 65% of my paycheck from Walmart. Just so you guys can understand where I'm coming from. Yeah, so let's get into it. Let's go look at what I did and why I did it. All right. Okay, so this is where we're at. Like I said, got paid, got my stimulus check as well, and I put the money into the market, and I went and purchased a bunch of Altria Group stock. And you can see on this day, I made my last investment on this day. And I again point out that it shows that I have 85 shares of this company, but 35 of those shares belong to my son, so I actually only possess 50 shares. I manage the account for him, but it is his. So just so you guys know, if you're wondering why these numbers are going to look different than the spreadsheet that I'll show you in a moment, this is why. And basically, that's my only investment in this dividend portfolio account at this point in time. I'm still trying to build my overall position size before I start to invest in anything else. And as I pointed out in the last video, I would like to have about 100 shares personally of this company. Right now I have about 50, so I'm halfway there. But that's double where I was just in the last video, so I don't expect to grow that fast next week, but it was a nice boost getting that stimulus from the government. I didn't need it for any particular bill or anything of that nature, so I went ahead and used it in this way. I felt that it was a good use of the funds. And again, this is not recommendation that you should do any of this thing. I'm just sharing with you what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, what my thought processes are. Now let's go look at the actual spreadsheet. Here we are now. You can see that the dividend cash flows coming up in April is much more substantial than it was. Basically, it's doubled. As the share has basically doubled, so has the dividend. And again, let's quickly go back. The 24th of this month will be the ex-div date. So if I buy before the 24th, I get the very next dividend. If I buy after the 24th, the very next dividend I will not receive. But if I continue to hold the shares, the one following that I would then receive. Just so you guys are clear on that if you don't know how that works. Now you do. And so what we're looking at right now is, like I said, $43 will be my next payment. And I believe the payment is going to be on April the 30th. That's not the same. You won't get the payment on the ex-div date. You'll get the payment sometime shortly after the ex-div date, usually within a few weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, that kind of thing. So that's how that's going to play out. And then as long as I hold the shares, I will continue to get that payment every single quarter, right? So that's what's going on there. The yield on cost is now 7.09. My entry price average is $48.51. That's gone up as I've been buying. As prices have been climbing, I've been continuing to buy. That raises my average. If I were to click on this here, you would see each of my individual buys as they happened, right? And so then just the average was reflected here, and then that is then reflected here. So that's what's going on and why I'm doing that. I do have, like I said, want to continue to increase this. I would like to see this grow to about 100 shares. That'd be about $5,000, and then I'll begin picking up another one, some other company, hopefully, and then we'd start to see maybe another bar start to show up maybe in March, and then in June and September, or whatever the company I buy, whenever they pay their dividend, it would start to stack up, and we'd start to see some more interesting cash flow figures, and we would discuss at that time. So by and large, that's all I have to share with you. It's basically just an update for you. I can also talk about this a little bit. As I've told you before, my number one priority is building this cash flow, annual cash flow. So this number again has, if the share count doubles or roughly doubles, then this roughly doubled in the same instant. So just so you understand how fast it grows and compounds and so forth and so on. All right, I guess that's about all I had to share with you. God bless, take care. I will see you in the next one. If there are any questions, feel free to comment them in the video and I will do my best to answer them. I do get comments from time to time, people asking me, why don't you buy this penny stock or that penny stock? If it doesn't pay a dividend, it's not a company that's substantial, in a large cap kind of situation that I know the name of and I know what they do and I understand what they're doing and how they're making money. That's basically what I focus on. So when you say, hey, why don't you buy a penny stock here, or this one I've heard a rumor about, or go buy Bitcoin, or it's just not something I understand. So it's not something I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on dividend building and then reinvesting those dividends. That's my objective. Okay. God bless. Take care, and I will see you in the next one.